Namathu Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Zem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening everyone. So today is Saturday the 20th of February 2021, and this is Ajahn Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. So as usual, I'm here with you all tonight to share and to be with you in this moment. Hello Margaret, good evening. Hello Wannapa, Jalanpon. So today is a Saturday, and I hope that you're all having a wonderful time. And it's a little bit raining today, but it's beautiful. No snow now. At the center also there is no snow. It's lucky. Now getting warmer. And you can see the snowdrops are coming up. Snowdrops are emerging. And yesterday I was walking down the field and I noticed some snowdrops are just blossoming. The sign of spring coming up. So let's go to today's the discourse. So today's discourse, there are two discourses that I am going to focus on, and that's again similar to the yesterday. The background is similar, which is the Venerable Ananda, the attendants of the Buddha, was living at the Savatthi, and Venerable Buddha was just having a secluded time and come out from the secluded place and spoke with the Venerable Ananda, and this took place at the Pataliputta. So it's not in Savatthi, it is in Rajagaha, the Pataliputta, the city of Ajatasattu. And here the Venerable Buddha asks the Ananda, saying, "Friend Ananda, what is the cause and reason why the true Dhamma does not endure long after a Tathagata has attained final Nibbana? And what is the cause and reason why the true Dhamma endures long after a Tathagata has attained a final Nibbana?" So this Buddha is basically asking with a curiosity, and that how the teachings of the Buddha will last long. And according to the commentaries, it says that Buddhism will last for 5,000 years, and then with that it will just gradually fade away. So at that time there won't be anyone who will be knowing about the Buddha's teachings. And further on, there was a conversation with the Buddha and the Ananda, the attendants, that because the ordination of nuns, it has decreased the lifespan or endurance of the Buddhist dispensation. And that was another one. And here Buddha was just curious that what will be the reason why the teachings of the Buddha does not last long. And in that, I just would like to say that India, those days, the Buddhism was spread quite a lot in Indian continent, and those days it's called Jambudvipa. Jambudvipa is nowadays combination of the few countries like India as the main, and then Nepal, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bhutan. So these are the countries known as the Jambudvipa in ancient time. So in those days there wasn't a country called India, but known as the Jambudvipa, and a combination of around 16 small countries. And this India, after that Buddha, during the Buddha's time, Buddhism spread quite a lot, and Buddhism was kind of a major religion in Indian continent at that time. And with that, the tradition that was practiced during those days was Brahmanism. Nowadays, people may think that Brahmanism and Buddhism is the same, but in fact, the Brahmanism and Buddhism are two different religions. It's just the Hinduism is a new transformation from the Brahmanism. In those days, Brahmanism, there are so many deities that doesn't exist, which we can see nowadays in Hinduism. But however, it's not the point that we are here to discuss. That during the time of the Buddha, because of the popularity of Buddha's teachings, Brahmanism gradually declined, and that also caused quite a significant aversion towards the Buddha and Buddhism. As a result, we can see there are so many stories that start, manipulated and accusation to the Buddha in different ways, and which later on found to be no source for it. So, and India, again, although the part of the Buddhist heart in those days didn't have a Buddhism for about 700 or 800 years. So Buddhism was completely wiped out from India. So when we look at the disappearance of Buddhism in Indian continent in those days, we see that there are so many causes of decline. So many causes and reasons for the disappearance of Buddhism from India. Some say that it is because the Buddhists weren't practicing in accordance with the Buddhism. Monks weren't practicing in accordance with the DHAMMA and Vinaya, the rules and regulations that the Buddha had established, which we discussed yesterday. And some say that because the Buddhists were become superstitious and spend more time studying about the magical powers and more into the rites and rituals, which has diminished understanding the true Dhamma. And meanwhile, in terms of the external influence or external cause for the decline was mainly the Hindus' influence, and the second was the Muslim Turks' invasion in India. And these records we can find from the records that are recorded by the Chinese travelers to India in those days. And India and Chinese travelers like I Ching and Wang Shang, and these people have recorded the situation in India in those days. So that's about 6th century, during the 6th century time. And according to those records, it suggests that there were monks, even married, and staying in the temples, and temples become kind of divided into two parts. One for the celibacy monks, and one second part was the monks, those who have married. And then there were monks again spending time, few years being a monk, and then go back to lay life, and then come back again, some sort of like that. That was the causes. But when I look at it carefully, I could divide it into two causes. One is internal, and the second is external. Internal is monks and monastics and lay followers weren't practicing in accordance with the Buddha's law and guidance. And the second one is the external invasion, which is again due to the Brahmanical or Hindu trying to be returned back as it was in the past. And that has been the issue, and always there been a plan. And after the King Asoka, which about 300 BC, again Hindu followers gain power and try to destroy Buddhist practices, and which again heavily bombarded and destroyed almost kind of 50% or more than 50% during the time of the great Sankaracharya, the Hindu priests, who was very well known, and who also reinterpret the concept of moksha, the liberation in Hinduism or in Brahmanism, which is divided as like similar to the Buddhist concept of a nibbana. So, in the Sankaracharya, the 8th century, that time Buddhism got really troubled, and Buddhist monks weren't able to discuss and defeat in the discussions, which is like in Sri Lanka in the 18th century, when a lot of Christians trying to convert all the Sri Lankans from the island, and whoever converted into Christianity would get a new name, and also will get a good education and good good jobs in government officials. But if you are not a Christian and if still believing in Buddhism, you will not have a good access to the education or the work, the job, and which continued quite a lot. And eventually, one monk who was studying in a I forgot whether that was a Catholic or Orthodox, but he was studying in Christian missionary schools, and later he came to study. He came across with the Buddha's teachings and studied Buddhism, and after that he became a monk. And later on, as he developed his understanding about Buddhism, he openly challenged to the Christian missionaries in Sri Lanka, and which again, with the writing on newspapers, debating on the newspapers, and eventually there was a debate, the open debate between the Christian missionaries and with this monk. And then there was an agreement between these two groups that whoever wins, then they will they will convert into that religion or will not invade. And it happened that it continued a few days or years, I forgot now. And then it happened that this monk called Saranankar or something, I think Saranankar his name was, finally he managed to debate and win this debate, this open debate, which revived the whole Buddhism again in Sri Lanka. Whereas in the before that debate, Buddhism was really going into deep depression and not getting much support, and even the villagers were just reluctant to study and practice and follow the Buddhist teachings. But after this debate, all the villagers and the people began to see the importance of the Buddha's teachings, and realize that the Buddhist monks are not just focusing on just the Buddhist scripture, but also they have a wide range of understanding and involving in social engagement. And with that, Buddhism again revived in Sri Lanka and freed from the suppression from the Western Christian influence. And that's another reason why almost all the Sri Lankan Buddhists feel that they are the protectors and promoters of Buddhism, particularly Theravada Buddhism. So that was the reasons. And the second, that reason, the external one, in 11th century, when the Muslim Turks invaded India through the Afghanistan and Pakistan, at that time they thought that Buddhist monks are living in the monasteries, wearing the same clothes and doing same thing together at all the time. They are like ideals, worshippers, and also like an army. And they do not, like a Buddhist, do not believe in the creator of the God, whereas Islam, the creator of the God, is most important. And whoever doesn't believe in Islam, I was told that do not regard as even the human beings. And as a result of that, Buddhist monks were killed, and in different ways. Actually, the record says that it's very, very badly. And then later on. Okay, Satya Bhante, someday would you also highlight how Buddhism spread to West? Okay, I can do that. So yeah, and then even though there is a records, that's again a records not from the Buddhist records. It was recorded by one of the chief armies from the Muslim Turks, that saying that. The Nalanda University, the Buddhist Nalanda University in Nalanda, at that time there were about 10,000 students from around the world were studying, and there were so many books that it took them to burn all the books about 2 to 3 months. So we can see that how big that library would be. Which took for them to burn it for about 2 to 3 months. And this Nalanda University, the archaeological site still exists in India, and which is very, very vast, so huge that even just looking at the archaeological site, gives us so much vastness of this university, and which you can even search online. And Nalanda University, probably one of the first international Buddhist international university ever been found. So about 10,000 people were studying there. But anyway, so that was the second cause. And after the Muslim Turks invasion in India, Buddhism completely wiped out, and some of the very prominent scholars exiled to Nepal, and where they have established a few temples and stayed in the temples, and also some of them traveled to Tibet those days. And as a result of that, the Sanskrit, the literature in Mahayana Buddhism, some of the very rare Sanskrit scriptures, particularly in so-called Navagrantha, the 9 scriptures, are only found and preserved in Nepal. And that's why the Vajrayana Buddhism or Mahayana Buddhism, if anybody wants to study deeper in the teachings, they have to travel to Nepal or study these Navagranthas that is preserved in Nepal. And that's how Buddhism completely wiped out from India. And recently it was revived in 19th century with a few help from the Sri Lanka, a few help from even I think I have mentioned November time, the story of Babasaheb Ambedkar, who was fighting, and again his mission is still continued to convert untouchables to Buddhism, and which has been a new mood Okay, so that's all. That's giving you the decline and disappearance, the causes of the Buddha's teachings, how Buddhism declines. And this is the same question asked during the time of the Buddha by the Venerable Buddha to Venerable Ananda. And here Venerable Buddha was asking that what is the cause and the reason why the true Dhamma does not endure long after a Tathagata has attained final Nibbana? And this is, we can see, and Venerable Ananda replies in saying that it is, friend, because the four establishments of mindfulness are not developed and cultivated, that the true Dhamma does not endure long after a Tathagata has attained final Nibbana. And it is because the four establishments of mindfulness are developed and cultivated that the true Dhamma endures long after the Tathagata has attained the final Nibbana. And further on saying, what for? So, what are these four establishments of mindfulness? Anyone has got any clue for that? You can type it. Four establishments of mindfulness. And I have been talking about it so long. Okay? So anyone has got any clue? What are the four establishments of mindfulness that Venerable Ananda is replying to the Venerable Buddha as the cause and effect? Okay? And the cause and the reason for disappearance, or the decline of a Buddhism. Anyone? Satipatthana, yes. What are the Satipatthanas? Yeah. So this is the four establishment of a mindfulness. It's known as a Satipatthana. And what are the Satipatthanas? Okay. Anyone has got any clue? What are the Satipatthanas? So Ananda was saying that it is because the practice of a Satipatthana developed and cultivated, and that is the true Dhamma. That will endure a long life of the Buddha Sasana or the teachings of the Buddha. And if one does not practice in accordance with the Satipatthana or the four establishment of a mindfulness, then the endurance of the teachings will be less. Anyone? Four establishment of mindfulness, what are they? As the Ananda asks, says, what for? Okay, what are the four establishment of mindfulness, which is the cause and a reason for the endurance of long, endure long, the Dhamma, Dhamma that endures for a long after the Tathagata, the Buddha, passed away. Anyone? Four establishment of mindfulness? Refreshing your brain? So that is the first. Okay. So that's the first sutta. The first discourse is called the duration, and that is the Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, and Dhamma. Okay, that's right, Satya. So, the four establishment of a mindfulness is known as Satipatthana, and that is the contemplation on Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, and Dhamma. Now, what that means? What is the Kaya means? What is the Vedana, Chitta, and Dhamma means? Remember, this is the cause and a reason why the true Dhamma does not last and will last. So the one who is practicing in accordance with this Satipatthana develops and cultivates, then that will endure the Dhamma for a long time after the Buddha passed away. But if we are not practicing in accordance with it, then that does not endure. So that is the reason, and as a cause and a reason for that not enduring. Okay. And the second, the sutta, I will wait for your response, the translation of a Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, and Dhamma. Whoever can translate, so go ahead. while I am waiting, I will go to the next sutta, the discourse, which is called Decline. And this is again similar to the first one. The only difference is here the Venerable Buddha asks the Ananda that what is the cause and the reason for the decline of the true Dhamma, and what is the cause and the reason for the non-decline of the true Dhamma. Anyone? No translation for the Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, Dhamma, as Satya answered here? And while I'm waiting, I will further read this for a moment. And the Venerable Ananda replies, saying to the Buddha that it is, friend, when these four establishments of mindfulness are not developed and cultivated that the true Dhamma declines. And it is when these four foundations of mindfulness are developed and cultivated that the true Dhamma does not decline. Okay, so yes, mindfulness of a body, mindfulness of a feeling, and what two R's. Okay, so here we can see that this practice of a mindfulness meditation is the reason, is the a cause and a reason for the long life of the Buddha Sasana, or the teachings of the Buddha, and also is the cause and a reason for the decline. If we are practicing in accordance with this four establishment for mindfulness, which is Satipatthana, and that's contemplating a Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, and Dhamma. And as Satya answers, the translation of for that's mindfulness of a body, mindfulness of a feeling, mindfulness of a mind, and mindfulness of the Dhammas, is the main reason, cause and a reason for the long life of the teachings of the Buddha, and also the reason for not to decline the teachings. So that's why it's very, very important to understand these four foundations of a mindfulness, and also should be practicing in accordance with it, and developing and cultivating. And here it is not just the maintenance or endurance of the long life of the teachings, and not to decline the teachings, but also for our own sake of happiness. And as we have seen, that if we are practicing in accordance with the teachings and practicing in accordance with this four establishment of mindfulness, we feel happy. We learn to live in this present moment, and we will be able to deal with all the emotions and the feelings that comes, and how our mind is engaging in different things, and what the states of our mind is. And with that understanding, the state of the mind, it helps us to understand that true nature, understanding the nature as they are, and things as they are, and that helps us to understand the reality as it is. And with this, we will gain great happiness in this life and hereafter. So I end here with these two discourses reading on, and we'll come back on next discourse tomorrow. With this, may you all be well and happy. May the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you. In a few moments' time, we're going to have evening chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Until then, good night and see you shortly. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Sadhu.